And let's go.
All right. Good morning, evening, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the One Up Podcast. My name is always Milos Bukarica. We got George with me. We've got Manuel, and our guest today is Mr. Abel. What's up, man?
Thank you very much for the invitation, guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome. What's everybody up to since we've last seen each other? Actually, I guess I haven't. I just met you, but still.
I don't know, but we'll post some BTS of like the stuff we did at the studio. We just set up a new gear tree for all the cameras and lights.
It actually looks fucking sick. I wish y'all could see it. Actually, post Milos editing, insert some pictures here.
Yeah, nice setup right here.
What, you like it?
Yeah, like I can definitely see the difference between when you guys first started and now. I can see that you guys.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to do something, make it prettier. So for y'all who maybe don't see it, the ones who are looking at just listening to the sound version, it basically looks like we installed a big ass stripper pole in the middle of the studio. So whenever we need more money, we're gonna have Manuel, who's our prettiest boy here, train on it so we can go and make some money at the strip clubs.
Yeah.
There we go.
Go catch me up there.
And I've never seen a tripod like that. This is my first time seeing something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty nice, innovative.
Yeah, it's really nice because there's a bunch of arms on it. So basically right now we have two cameras set up on it. We also have a light on it. And there's a little tray table where we have the actual recorder set up on it. So it actually looks super clean. I thought I wouldn't like it, but now I feel like I'm going to have to pay back George some money for it. Cause I think he bought the whole thing. And I told him if I like it, I might go half. So fuck, George. I think I might have to pay you.
It definitely cleans up the space. I really liked it for that.
Yeah, true. Because like with the three tripods, it looked like kind of big cluttered. This does look better. Absolutely. And it all folds away quite nicely too, which is great. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag I fucking wish. Give me money.
That's fun.
All right. So Abel, what do you do, man?
Oh man, I live in Fort Worth, and I do a little bit of. I've been in Fort Worth about 5 years. I used to be in television and radio.
Oh hell yeah!
And but then how. Everything is digital now.
Yeah.
So a lot of radios had to cut costs, so a lot of people have been getting laid off through the years. Like now, like studios are run by one TD, maybe one producer. So I used to work for Lieberman. I was with La Raza 93.7.
Nice.
And then I was let go about 5 years ago, and I was let go like on a Thursday, and then by Friday I was selling cars.
Shit. Hustler, I fucking love that. Nice.
So I started selling cars, and then, like 5 months after, I was like, I can just do this on my own. So then I started a car dealership.
Nice.
So I opened a car dealership named Kylie over here in Fort Worth, 28th Street. And then I started saving money. I wanted to buy a house. And then I couldn't find a house. Everything was so expensive and just in bad conditions. So then I started investing it in real estate.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been just working, and then of course, like, I still have a lot of passion for communication, stuff like that. So I'm trying to get back into it.
Because I know, like, you started off, but you didn't want to stick with the broadcast or radio. And you still do it as a hobby on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes.
Cocinando with Abel?
Yeah, Cocinando con Abel. So when I was at UTA, I went to school to UT Arlington. They have one of the best broadcast programs, not just in English, but in Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
I think in Spanish is like the number one.
Unless, of course, you go through the pandemic like I did. Before the pandemic, after the pandemic, I'm pretty sure they're fucking fantastic.
Oh, but, yeah. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked my experience through the pandemic.
No,
like you.
trust me. But no, you're absolutely right. Like, the teachers there are fucking amazing. They bring such a good experience. We just actually talked right before the podcast about Lance, the audio guy, and Julian Rodriguez. Like, those two people specifically are the ones I remember most from over there. There's a couple of people who were good too, but those two people helped me out more than anything.
Yeah. Like, you're right on that, because the professors at UTA, they're just not like, they're really good. They have a passion for it. And they actually have done it in the professional world. Like Lance, he used to work in the radio for years.
Yeah.
Julian Rodriguez, which is one of the best out there in the nation, he used to work for Nebraska television programs, stuff like that, from from just carrying the camera, from reporting, producing, TD. So, I was pretty blessed to go to UTA and graduate from that program.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sure, because my time at TCC, which is where I went before that, same thing, was really amazing. So I'm sure that if I would have gotten a chance to go, and not during the pandemic, my own fault, honestly. Like, I started UTA in 2010, and, excuse me, sorry, burping, because bank, whatever. But yeah, I started UTA in 2010, flunked out my first semester, and then just left because I didn't want to go back. Like, I finished high school. I didn't want to do shit with school anymore. I was one of those idiots. And then, eventually finished TCC after a couple of years because, again, off and on. Went through that program. 2015, I think I graduated, which is amazing. And then I should have gone to UTA right after, but I was like, no, you know what? I'm gonna chill. And pandemic came. I was in a rut. I was like, I don't know, like my current job, I don't have like, there's no movement. I'm gonna graduate, either go into, that business or do something else. And as you probably know, the pay is unfortunately, the pay is kind of ass when you first start out. Because I was looking, it's like, okay, I'd have to move first off because we are the number 5 largest market, right? So finding a job here is going to be not impossible, but more difficult than finding a job, somewhere in the smaller markets. For example, a lot of people go to what is it? Can't remember the name of it. It's like a big city that's like a little bit west of here. A lot of people start off there, other places too. And I was looking, I'd have to, 1, move away from here, 2, because I still lived with my parents at the time and still do, because money, trying to save money. I'd have to move out, and I'd be making like 12, maybe 15 tops an hour.
What?
Not worth. Like, starting out, not worth it, unfortunately. But I mean, if you have a passion for it, there is vertical movement. About every 2 years, you do move up and everything. If you want to struggle through that and you have a passion for it, absolutely go for it. But for me, I ended up getting a job in finance because it paid a whole bunch more.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the downfall from broadcast television. That of course, a lot of people think that people that work in TV make a lot of money.
No.
But
I mean, eventually.
Eventually, if you're in national, if you're in national television, that's when you can make decent money.
And if your job doesn't get taken away, like you were saying earlier.
Yes, of course. Like, everybody's cutting costs in television and radio, so a lot of people have been getting laid off. And what I can tell you is that whenever I was at UTA, I had a passion for sports, and and obviously I wanted to do, I wanted to be a reporter full time. But then when I found out how much they were paying and that I had to go to a small market, I was like,
yeah.
Like, I did do it here locally. I did it with Univision Dallas. I did say the sports segment, stuff like that. But it does require a lot of work, a lot of passion, because the pay is tough. The pay is tough in television and radio. Yeah. So you're right on that, man. Like, just the pay is not the best.
But don't let that discourage anybody who actually wants to go in it. Like, the jobs are still great and all that, but it does suck about the whole everything going down. I remember when I was interning at Country Network, a little studio here, used to be known as Studio 121. The guys who would do camera there, they would also do camera at CBS 11, which was one of the only studios at the time that still had actual camera people, and it wasn't all robotic. Because now, 1 camera person for the whole fucking studio, 1, maybe 2 in the control room, as you were saying, TD, and that's it, and maybe 1 more person. That's it. When it used to be like, 6, 7 people. You go through school, right? There's like 4 or 5 y'all lined up. Yeah. And then you gotta,
you got like,
it's nuts.
1 person in each camera. You got the floor, the floor person that makes the calls, and then you get the TD, you got the producer, and then what else do you have? The sound.
Yeah.
So now you
got
got
a CG graphics guy too.
You got the graphic guy, and then in the real world, the TD is doing pretty much everything.
And then you have 1 guy just making sure the people hit their mark, because the robot cameras will always hit where they're supposed to go.
Yes.
You just have to adjust them in case the fucking anchor doesn't hit a spot.
Yeah. So yeah, the broadcast, business has changed a lot, and that's because of the digital.
True. Yeah.
Companies started marketing more in the digital platform is cheaper, than
Yeah.
in television. Television is pretty expensive to advertise your business there.
Yes.
So a lot of business have gone more digital. Their budget goes more into that world.
And I mean,
So
COVID also kind of did that as well because you okay?
Keep talking.
Okay.
I'll be moving something around.
Okay, all right. But yeah, so I mean, even with COVID, with a lot of reporters and stuff working from home, it took a long time for that to come back. And now that they know they can do that as well, and not have an issue, people are still going to watch. There's still like from time to time you go to watch the local stations, like the weather guy might be working from home or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that saves a lot more money and also cuts a lot more jobs too. Unfortunate, but
but I tell a lot of people, like a lot of people, broadcast, that's not even a good degree, and I'm like, nah, man, like broadcast degree is a great degree because it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
For example, whenever you do broadcast and you communicate, you learn about public relations. If you're a storyteller, that means you can be great in marketing. If you have your own business or you're doing, for example, broadcasting, right? A lot of people think it's just television and radio. But you can also do like filmmaking. You can do stories from people's weddings, quinceañeras, sporting events. You're a storyteller. And that's what people that don't go through the program, like, I was blessed to go through the same program that you did, UTA, and that's what you learn, to be a storyteller.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think those skills that we have, we're able to develop it in a professional way.
Absolutely, man.
Because a lot of people are like, nah, school ain't this, school ain't that. I'm like, yeah, you say that because you didn't go to school, but the relationships that you're able to build in school, the skills that you're able to develop as a student, those are things that help you in real life, and not just like as an entrepreneur, but like even in any company that you go and work. And I think that broadcast communication it gives you a lot of opportunities. It's just based on what people think, And he was talking about my YouTube channel. Yes, I used to do Cocinando con Abel. Since I was a kid, I started cooking like at 10,
Nice.
11. I was always a foodie. I was in the kitchen working.
Yeah.
Working and also making food for my brothers and sisters. And when I was in UTA, I wanted to practice my Spanish, because a lot of people don't know, like, yeah, you might know Spanish, right? And you might be able to speak it, but it's a difference whenever you're doing Spanish television.
Yeah.
Like, there's no Spanglish there, and there's no sabo, like,
Yeah.
you gotta know, like, you
No
have to be able,
shortcuts, man.
Yeah, there's no shortcuts because you're a meme. They're gonna laugh at you.
Yeah.
So what I did is that I wanted to practice my Spanish, and I was just like, what am I good at? What can I practice with? And I was just like, I can just start my YouTube channel, Cocinando con Abel, and that's how I was able to develop, more as a host, in front of the camera, was through my YouTube channel,
Yeah. I know. I mean, honestly, I feel like I really wouldn't have become. I mean, not that I'm a great podcast host. I still could do much better. I feel comfortable around people I'm around with. But I feel like, doing that radio show at UTA and going through all that made me kind of develop my voice a little bit different. Because a lot of people say I sound a lot different when I'm doing this versus when I'm just actually speaking to people. So, yes. I mean, not that you can't learn that without school. You absolutely can. And one thing school is very good for, not for me because, again, fucking COVID, fuck you, networking. Like, this degree is made for networking. I still talk to a lot of people I went to school with from TCC. George, granted, he went through a film program before me. I knew him actually before that. But still, there's a lot of people I keep in contact with right now that like you said as well, you have a lot of people right now who are actually doing professional stuff. You mentioned right before the podcast started, there's directors, there's producers, there's a lot of people in sports that that you knew that went through this, and you have all these connections. So and one day in the future, if you're like going to do something that's similar to their field, you can either ask for advice or be like, hey, can you either put in a good word for me or give me advice on how I can do this. So that's like one of the most important things for in this degree. So one of the biggest reasons you should actually pursue that degree in communication, broadcasting, or anything of the sort if you want.
No, there's been people even saying that for like whatever degree you get in college, usually the networking is what really helps you.
Yes.
And just the structure of the class will help you later on for any type of work. Because there's been guys who end up, a lot of jobs just require the degree, but they'll go into something completely different. But like the skills and the work ethic they develop going to school, like kind of helps them with their other career.
No, and that's true because a lot of people don't understand. But I think what school shows and tells people, especially whenever we're doing business with somebody or you're hiring somebody, is that you can actually get shit done.
Yes.
Like you can accomplish something, and people that don't, finish things, it shows with their history and with what they have accomplished in their, and I think that's what school helps you, like George was saying, the network,
It shows that you can hold a schedule. It shows that you can meet deadlines. So those are like the two biggest things that it shows. So it's basically almost like having a job because you show that you can do all those things. Yeah. Manuel, did you experience any of this stuff with your schooling? Because I know you went through school to be a teacher and stuff like that. Do you find that similarities in that to the broadcasting field with networking and structure and all that?
Oh yeah, I mean my degree's in teaching, English with a certification in teaching, secondary, high school, middle school, and going through that school, going through Texas Wesleyan program, I learned that, these skills, they fit anywhere, and not generally just in, like you said, broadcasting, but just life skills. But what I took from that and brought into the whole broadcasting, it's kind of what Abel was saying. When you're broadcasting, you're telling a story. So when I was studying for my English degree, we did a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, all kinds of stuff. And that helped me motivate myself to become a better script writer for not just, let's say, a movie setting, but like this whole setup right here. Like, what are we aiming for? What are we aiming for? What do we want to portray in our podcast? Do you want to portray that we are, I don't know, set like this or set something different? I'm not going to go into details because then I'll just become a writer and then speak about different things. But yeah, schooling really helped me with becoming a better writer, becoming a better storyteller, just the general of being a better creative person.
Yeah.
And that is something that you need like you said, Abel, like that's something you need in this field, like being a storyteller. Because if you don't have a story to tell, if you have nothing to base it on, then it's just going to be a tornado of ideas. And that helped me get grounded. As long as you're grounded, that tornado becomes something
Manageable.
Something manageable, yes.
And one of the best producers that I know, he actually studied English just like Emmanuel.
Nice.
His name is Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is a boxer. But it's Andres Suarez. He was a producer for a long time in West Texas with Univision.
Nice.
But him and his wife, Gaby Natale, they started their own show back in their garage. Something like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they started. And now they have, around 20 Emmys, and
Nice.
Super Latina. And he's one of the smartest guys that I've ever met. I worked for him for 2 years when I was at UTA. And he's an English writer. He studied English in England. He's from Argentina. And I've never met somebody that could write so good. He's the best writer I've ever met. And he wasn't even born in the United States. He was born in Argentina. you know, and he is one of the best storytellers that I know. And he didn't study broadcast; he studied English.
So,
Yeah. Well, you ever, I don't know, the background of like Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi went to the university for English. He's an English major.
Mhm.
But since he was in high school, he was making short films and stuff. And then he was like 18 years old when he made Evil Dead. And Evil Dead, he made it before really going deeper into the classes and stuff. But you could see kind of like the difference of how he structures his stories and stuff, like from that movie on to everything he's worked on now. Like even some things that seem like they'll make sense, you'll see the connections, or like how much deeper it goes into like that reflects the character's personality and what he's trying to do. But you do see that like what he actually learned in school really helps his work.
Yeah.
I mean, because you do have people like that, but then also similar to the conversation we had last time with Jorg, you were talking about that Robert Rodriguez show, how there was the cinematographer who couldn't do anything except for doing shit by the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's also those type of people.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Basically, what he was saying was that he took Jorg went to a program where they taught him how to work with high end equipment, really professional stuff. But they also went like, all right, well, if you want to do this and you don't have access to this equipment, here's like alternatives to do it in like the cheapest way possible. Like some things were like hooking up a camera to like a dolly, like the ones you would use to move your fridge.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, oh, well, in that Robert Rodriguez show, there was a guy who studied like at Berkeley or something, and he was like in the film program at like a prestigious school in California. And that dude could not do anything other than what he was taught, so he had to do it the way he was taught, or he didn't really know
not
how.
fucking creative at all. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be a DP, you got to be creative. For me, I'm more likely to be like him, honestly, because like I'm not as creative when it comes to shots. I know what shots look okay, but getting extra creative, in my mind, I know I'm not really 100% cut out for that yet. So I know where my limitations are. I don't think that guy did. That's the kind of issue. Yeah. But you also did some sports stuff too, right?
Yeah, so whenever I was at UTA, I had the opportunity to intern for the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice.
And that was kind of like my dream, you know, to be able to even have the opportunity to just walk into Valley Ranch back in the day. You know, it was something that I couldn't even sleep. You know, I didn't even think I was going to get the opportunity to get the opportunity to intern, even though they don't even pay you.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, but it was really a great experience. You know, I've always had a passion for sports. Sports is something that kind of pushed me into getting into broadcast.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know there was a college degree, to be honest. I went to UTA for business. And then somebody went and interviewed me, and I was like, what is this? He's like, oh, I just want to interview you. You know, it was in a Spanish interview for the Spanish broadcast at UTA. And I was like, how does this work? You know, I started asking all these questions, like, hey, sign me up. I want to do that. You know, I never knew there was a degree for broadcasting.
And that's I don't know how many other schools, I don't know if that's common or not, but I fucking love the fact that they actually do the Spanish stuff, Mozambique stuff. Like that is super fucking cool to me.
Yeah, and I think it's if you are bicultural and bilingual, it's a great opportunity to practice that in this field. For example,
me too, but nobody fucking wants to speak Serbian.
Well, but yeah, maybe in this market.
Maybe not. I need to move to Chicago. There's more people up there from my country.
Yeah, Chicago. What about California?
Not really. So Florida, I know Florida and Chicago, or I forgot what part of Florida, but there's a big part of Florida, and also in Chicago, there's a lot of people back from my country, and so over there, they might have some shit up there I might want to hit up actually, but at first I need a long vacation back home because right now my Serbian is really fucking bad. Like I'm butchered the shit out of. My dad always calls me out. He's like, "That's not how you fucking say this thing." Like he's like your grammar sucks. You're really bad. So I think I'm gonna take like a 3-week vacation back home and force myself just to speak the language.
There's a girl on, I guess it's on TikTok and YouTube. It's a red-haired girl. She's like mixed. She's just white and Mexican, but she speaks Spanish and she's like practicing her Spanish more and more. And so she'll do all these videos where it's like about Mexican culture and then just practicing with her sister, like challenging each other to see if they could name whatever things in front of them.
Yeah.
And they'll just try and name it. But those things become like really relatable that even if you're outside the culture, within the culture, you kind of relate to it.
Yeah.
So I was like, when you're talking about the Serbian thing, I'm like, you could probably do that and it'd still like get audiences in the areas where they're at here, but also like the people curious to speak your language.
Yeah.
So it's something you can still build something out of, like those little niches.
Yeah, like being bilingual, bicultural helps you in anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but definitely helped me out when I was doing broadcasting.
Yeah.
And whenever when I applied for the Cowboys internship, I went to my interview with Matt Scott. He's the director of communications for the Dallas Cowboys, and you know, he asked me like, you know, why should we give you the opportunity? And I was like, well, I'm bilingual, I'm bicultural, you know, have a passion for sports, and I can edit. When he heard edit, man, he was like,
Nice.
when can you start? You know, but you know, I had it really rough in college. It was really tough for me. You know, I didn't even have. You know, I was lucky if I had $5 in my pocket, $10, and I would. For me, my experience was good, but at the same time, I struggled really financially. You know, because I was the first one in my family to go to college, and my mom is a single mom. You know, making minimum wage is really tough for her to support. You know, me in college. I just wanted the opportunity.
Yeah.
And but that's the hardest thing about my internship. It was not even the whole job. It was mostly because, you know, I had to find $5 to put it in the gas tank and go to Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they don't pay you the internship.
Yeah, because like at that point, like you're taking away time that you could be using to actually work a job to help pay for your shit. Trust me, like that. I know I was lucky a little bit just because I took so fucking long to graduate. I had money saved up, and so by the end of like UTA, like half of it I got paid for because, you know, not loans, like grants and shit, and then the other half I was actually able to pay out of pocket. So luckily I got out fucking debt free, just because I waited so fucking long to go back where I actually had the shit saved up. But yeah, going through it, I can definitely see how that could be like, you know, definitely a struggle. Which I guess, you know, if I did go through it, I'm pretty sure I'd be way wealthier than I am now. Obviously, now I have my bank account's fucking small, honestly, compared to any of y'all. Trust me, because I spend like a dumbass. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's the kind of the divide there. It's like you go back later, you can pay for it, but now all that, like, even if you were debt earlier, you still could have made all that up at this point. So I feel like you made the right decision by going through it all the way from the start.
Yeah.
Even if you struggle, yeah.
Yeah, even if you struggle, you know, it's just about starting and finishing, you know. And the internship that was what made it the toughest.
Yeah.
Because financially for me, I was like struggling, you know, because I was paying my own apartment. I had to pay for my own food, my own gas, you know, and driving to Valley Ranch, you know, it's about 35-minute drive.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, it was a good experience. You know, intern for the Cowboys, I recommend it to anybody that loves sports. Apply for the Cowboys.
And it's good on a resume too, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just that. Like, I hands on. You know, like if you're good at it and you have a passion for it, they give you the opportunity to do anything you want there.
Nice.
From shooting, from interviewing, from editing. Like, the sky is the limit when I was there. I don't know how it is now. I'm talking about, like, maybe, like, 8 years ago. Yeah. No, maybe, like, 10 years ago. Hold on, 2013.
Jesus.
Like, 10 years ago.
That is fucking 10 years. Oh, my God.
They were at Valley Ranch, you know?
Yeah.
So, I did everything, you know? I would interview the players. I would edit the Spanish show. I would go be on game day on the field. You know, that's when I met George Strait, which I didn't know who he was because I'm super Mexican. You know, I didn't know, like, you know, I'm from California, so, like, I didn't know about George Strait. But that's where I met George Strait, Larry Allen, LeBron James, you know, in the field when I was an intern. You know, you meet a bunch of celebrities, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Which in this, you know, in this field, in this business, like, the pay's not that good. But, like, you experience shit that nobody experienced.
Bro,
like,
you got stories.
You have access. You have access that, like...
Yeah.
Like, if you talk about it, like, you sound like somebody that's just bragging. But that's the access that you have in
Exactly.
in this business that you have access that nobody has. Backstage,
Yeah.
you know, the field, halftime show.
Absolutely.
You know, or like if you go as a freelance, like in a music award show, you have access in the back to you see the artist. There's everything. You know.
Yeah.
There's the complete opposite. But one time I went to help on a medical shoot, and we were recording cadavers. Like there were like people cut in half and stuff, and we were like recording their bodies. And then the doctors were doing procedures. They were recording it so they could put it online and do kind of like online classes. But they were doing the classes in person and then just moving the bodies around and stuff. And
They were shooting that.
Yeah, we were shooting that.
Oh, man,
I don't think I could do that.
Hey,
I mean, maybe I could, but
One lady didn't even have a jaw.
that's
There was a lady with no
Oh,
jaw, and I
like
think they
this.
took out the eyes, and like the top of the head was.
I would have never done that. Well, for
Nah.
me, like medical, yeah, that's why I didn't go to the medical field.
That
I
was
think I'm good on
crazy.
that.
They paid well, but I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What's the crazy gig you done?
Nightmares.
I think that one's one of the craziest one, just because you don't like.
That's
Not
the
every
craziest
day.
gig?
That's like the weirdest thing.
What about you? What's the craziest gig?
I don't know. I mean, really, I haven't done as much freelance stuff as him. Most of my shit I did was on my own. I don't know.
Or what's the craziest opportunity they have tried to give you?
Shit is hard, man, because like I said, I really haven't been as outgoing as they have with all that shit. I've mostly focused on other ventures for the most time. I did work on a pretty interesting car show for a little bit when I was interning. That was nice. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember we got to drive some pretty fucking cool cars all across Carrollton. That was really nice. They're like, all right, here you go. Like, all right, we need this hero shot. Go drive the car, bring it around. I was like, fuck yeah. It was some good shit. But besides that, really, honestly, I'm sad to say I haven't done too much too much freelance work myself.
What about you, man?
Not much, man. I just work with them, really, to be
Yeah,
honest.
but to be honest, like when I was in college, you know, and I was trying to finish my degree, I did freelance a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Like that paid the bills, and they do pay. At the time, they pay well, you know, better than working in the real.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
real-
no, absolutely.
Like on the regular day-to-day job.
Yeah, they pay you like
Absolutely.
$20 to $40 an hour to go over the roll cable, to help in production, in shootings, commercial shootings. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
when I was at UTA, Telemundo was shooting the commercial for the World Cup, and they paid me $35 an hour to be one of the guys in the commercial. So so there is opportunities out there.
So
They pay
I would
well.
do freelance work, and usually I was trying to find anything I could find that was film related. So I ended up being like director of photography on. It's been like 3 or 4 like indie movies, and one of them was a production from. The producers were from Mexico, and the director was from Puerto Rico.
Oh shit!
And they were setting up a movie together, and they apparently had some guy who was well known in Mexico, a guy named Charlie Valentino. And I didn't really know who he was, but he was on the movie, and they made it a big deal because he was like a known comedian, I guess, in Mexico, or an actor.
Charlie Valentino.
Yeah.
I've never heard.
No idea.
And yeah, my parents knew him. They're like, oh
No,
yeah,
sauce
I know that guy.
Valentinos? Or no, Valentina. Never mind. Not the right
Valentina.
sauce.
But that
I
was
clean toilets with Valentina in Mexico.
that was a cool experience too. But I was just doing like second camera on that shoot, because the director would shoot camera too, and I'd go on the second camera. And he really liked the work, but the pay was like, it varied. Sometimes he'd pay a little bit more, and then he's like, dude, once this shoot's over, I'm gonna give you a bonus. I'll give everybody a bonus.
Sure,
and
buddy.
like never happened.
Yeah, I guess for me, one of my coolest and funniest experiences, where I thought it was hilarious. He calls me right as soon as I got this new job, my finance job. He's like, "Hey, I got a movie, full week, come work." I'm like, "Fuck! Like, why you gotta call me now, right when I start this new job? I can't take it off." I'm like, "All right, I'll be there for the weekend." So he's like, "Okay, cool." Talks to the guys. He's like, "Yeah, sure. All right." So I come in at PA for the weekend. I think it was like the first day. It was first or second. I don't remember. One of the days.
It was for the religious movie.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I don't remember if it was first or second day, but they're like doing extra stuff, and the director's like just looking around. He's like your beard. Come here. I'm like, okay, cool. What do you want? He's like, put on this shit. You're gonna be the store owner here in this movie. I'm like, fuck, okay, fuck it. So like, I went from PA to being like being an extra in a movie. I was like, well, hey, like I didn't have to like haul cable and do shit for like a good 2-3 hours there. I was like, fuck it, let's go. So I thought it was pretty funny that he's like, yeah, we need you. Your beat's cool.
And that's
I knew
crazy.
this would come in handy one day.
And that's crazy because a lot of people think that, you know, you have to be super good looking to be an actor, but people don't understand that.
This motherfucker just called me ugly.
Well, I'm not saying that you're ugly, but
if you're not listening, if you're only listening, he's right. Yeah, he's right.
No, I'm just saying like a lot of people don't understand that because, for example, I have a friend that he used to be in CBS Radio. His name is David Torres, and he's in LA right now. And, you know, his goal is to be an actor. He's still pursuing that right now. And at first I was like, man, how is he going to be an actor? You know? And then I started thinking, it's like, well, yeah, shit. Like, there's a bunch of different characters in movies. Because I'm not really a movie guy. You know, George always talking about movies and show. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I'm a sports guy. Like, sports junkie all the way. You know, I'm really bad with shows and movies and stuff like that. So then I started thinking, like, oh, yeah, well, yeah, like, you don't have to be good looking to be an actor. People always assume, like me, that you have to be good looking and these great models that are only on television. But there's all different type of characters.
I mean, it's easier to be an A-list if you do that, but no, like, there's always typecast work. There's that, my favorite one is, what's his name? The dude always plays Carlos. I think, is that what he plays?
Like, the one from that Netflix show?
No.
He plays a brother. There's a Mexican actor who like always plays a guy named Hector.
Oh, Hector! Right? My bad, not Carlos. Hector. Yeah.
He always comes out like a bald cholo, and then finally they let him do like a bigger role on the Netflix show, and he actually grew his hair out for like the third season.
Dude actually has fucking hair.
For real? It's the first time they actually fleshed out like a Hector Cholo in like a TV show.
But was his name actually Hector in the show too? Probably.
I think so.
Oh my god. Yeah, literally, just look it up. It's called just look up like Hector, and you'll find him. Literally, this bald ass Mexican dude. Every single movie he's in, he plays a cholo named Hector.
Wow.
I'm like, usually you're typecast to a role, but typecast to a fucking name is amazing.
That's what a lot of these guys would say. Like, depending like by your race, you'll be typecast. Sometimes they always give you like, Hispanics always get cholos or something.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it can be hard to break out of that. I know some people have said that it's once you get typecast, it's kind of difficult to break out. But I mean, if you're content with that, that's fine.
There's always the guys who look like really unique that they'll keep getting over and over, and sometimes they'll just get known for the way they look. It would just you see Danny Trejo.
Oh yeah. What's his name? There's he played a Bond villain in one movie. Like, he's got a very unique face. I don't remember what like in one of the recent ones. Like, he almost always gets cast as a villain just because the way he looks. I don't remember his name, but it's just I forgot.
Can you describe him?
Christoph Waltz.
No. I think he had I think in the Bond movie, like, he had like some diamond or something like cut across his face. I forget what the fuck movie it was. But it's this dude. He looks very unique, and I've never seen him play anything besides a villain in anything, just because the way he looks. And
really?
Yeah, I mean, but shit, dude's like in all these A-list movies and shit. So as playing the main villain.
Wow.
But yeah. So you're right, man. Like, really, your looks. There will be a role for you. You may have to go through typecast. It's gonna be harder for you to be an A-lister, but there's absolutely roles for anybody.
There's a documentary called Your Favorite Actor You Don't Know. And it's like just all these people who've played like supporting actors in a bunch of movies, and you don't really know their name, but you've seen them like in TV shows and movies. Yeah, there's always a...
It's crazy because have you know the movie? It's from the Aztecs, Mexican Aztecs. What's that?
Is it Apocalypto?
That one.
Yeah.
So I met the actor, the bad guy that follows them. He was shooting a movie, and we became really good friends. His name was, I think, Gerardo. I haven't talked to him in years. He owes me dinner still, because he was here in Dallas shooting for a Netflix show called, what's that show on Netflix, bro? That it's kind of like Narcos.
Narcos?
Oh shit! Yeah.
He was he was shooting Narcos here in Dallas, bro. And I used to live over there in Dallas by the Uptown area, so I would always chill around the restaurants there, and that's where I met him. I didn't recognize him, but the ladies in the restaurants, you know, they told me, "Hey, ese es el actor. That's the actor." I'm like, "Which actor?" And I just like, "Oh yeah, that's him." Yeah, and I went up to him and like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then we became really good friends. He used to live in the Sky House over there in Dallas, and he was telling me that he was shooting that show Narcos, which like I don't watch, man.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about it. Like, but you know, he was a really cool guy, and I really don't know Apocalypto. I watched it, but I can't even remember the movie. But he's one of the actors that, you know, most people probably don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But if you see the actor, you'll be like, oh, okay, that's him.
I've seen that guy before. You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that guy somewhere before.
Yeah, and he owes me dinner because after he stopped shooting, he went to Mexico City, and then he hit me up. He's like, hey man, he needed to return the cable box in the internet. If not, they were gonna charge him like $300.
Shit.
So he's like, go to my apartment, you know. So like, I did that.
Just returned it from?
I did that return, and then when I was in Mexico City, I hit him up, you know, for that dinner, because, you know, he did say that. And then it took him a minute to respond, so I was like,
Well,
I don't know. If I say something, bro, I'm gonna do it, you know, like.
So, all right, so let's flip this. How about I owe you dinner instead of him, and you get him to be on our podcast?
Speaking of podcasts, Abel's also working on doing his own podcast.
Oh shit! Yeah,
I
I heard about that.
Helping him out, like set it up and everything. Should be starting up pretty soon, right?
Yeah. So George has been helping me over there in my office. We're trying to finish building the studio together.
Nice.
And we should be starting, you know, in the next 14 days. We should already be shooting. We're working on setting up all the equipment. He sent me the list of everything that I needed, and then we ordered like 75% of the stuff already.
Yeah, we got most of it. We're just waiting on like a couple cables, pretty much.
And then we ordered the sign for the podcast too, and then
we're like, "Could you keep it under 1,000?" I was like, "Well, maybe."
I mean, honestly,
bro, I'm already like at 2,000.
Bro, but really, like, if you're just doing an audio podcast, not doing video shit, really, like, phone microphones are really good these days. I mean, if you're only doing it yourself, phone is fucking perfect.
If you want a certain quality, you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, of
you
course.
can do it under 1,000 for sure.
Of course,
but
of
you
course.
wouldn't have like as many things.
No,
yeah, we're just fucking stupid, and we like having fancy shit.
I mean,
shit.
we already have the equipment, so why not?
A lot of it, yeah. And then, you know, you bought the stripper pole, but yeah.
I like the Super Bowl. I want one.
It's like $1,200, so
No, you
not
know,
cheap.
and the reason, you know, like you say, you could have gone the cheaper route, but it's all about the quality, and that's why, you know, I've been working with George has been working with me and my team, and we want to have a good setup, good quality audio, good quality video, and we already have you know, a couple of guests that are already set up to come through.
Nice.
We have an ex. He just left the radio station in Austin. He used to be a radio guy in Chicago and here in Dallas, and then he went to Austin and he just, you know, quit his job. So I'm gonna bring him in, and then I have some guy that is really famous on TikTok, Chaparro Schwarzenegger, you know, he's really viral. The guy is viral.
Nice.
So, yeah, man. You know, I'm pretty excited about starting it's in Spanish.
Nice.
You know? But, you know, of course, if somebody in English comes up, like, the good thing about is that I can also do it in English. Which sometimes, like, I don't understand, man. Like, people don't understand, but it's tough to go back and forth. You know, whenever you're in English, you're doing English, like, sometimes you struggle with the English. If you don't have that same rhythm or the same practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then whenever you go to Spanish, like, people start speaking Spanglish.
Yeah.
But it's just the practice, you know. It takes practice. Whenever I used to do it back in the day, I didn't struggle with it. But some of the things that are maybe like that I need to practice and start getting mentally ready. That hey, like the show is in Spanish, so I have to stick to the program.
So you're actually wanting to do like straight up like a broadcast quality Spanish and not like street Spanish like with the Spanglish?
No, well, I want to just be myself. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Fair.
If some Spanglish comes through, like I just don't want to sound like you know how they call no sabo. I don't know if you heard that before.
I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know what it means.
No,
like
can you explain it, bro?
It's because it's improper use. It's,
Oh.
not a real word, but it sounds like it would be.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So
That's
like,
what a lot of like Chicanos use.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so a lot of Mexicans are born in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like they grow up, you know, their Spanish.
They say troca instead of camioneta.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Oh,
that's
okay,
not
okay.
So
real
truck,
word.
it's
Yeah,
truck,
but-
right?
But
And troca, and then but there's words that sound really funny. Troca sounds fine, for example. Hey, una troca. You
Yeah.
know? But like, there's words that little kids use. They're really wrong. Like, and it's funny. Like for example, you ask a question and kids will be like, the proper way to say is like, no, pues yo no sé. Like, I don't know. But people will be like, no sabo.
oh, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay, I got it.
So
Yeah.
like those are the things that I start getting ready for.
Mhm.
It's not that I say that, right? But there is words that people have catch me with. They can make
Like
it.
even like if you stick to the truck stuff, they would say troca, but it's just camioneta. It's not troca.
Yeah.
But you know what
Camion, yeah,
they
that is
mean.
too.
And then like if they're like tell someone reverse, they'll be like baquiala. And it's like it's not even Spanish, but it's like
oh,
back
because
up.
yeah.
or like parking. Parking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
estacionate.
Es
Yeah.
estacionamiento.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that one, you can kind of, because parking sounds much faster to say. So that's like, but okay, kind of on a weird tangent for that. I remember, I don't remember if this was one of my broadcast classes that went through this TCC, but it was, no, actually, I think it was one of my French classes, actually. They were like, fucking Vancouver, I think it was, or one of the cities up there, I don't remember, maybe Quebec, was like, they wanted to be so fucking French formal that instead of even saying email, they were like, mail électronique. So like they had to say like literally had to say it that way because they're like we don't want to have anything to do with English. So it's like, well, at that point you're just making it a fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like I mean, with the parking situation, like I get that because parking is much shorter than to say it the other way.
Yeah.
So,
but like for example,
but it's not proper.
But if you're doing like TV,
Yeah.
like if you like doing like Univision, Telemundo,
Yeah, you
all
can't
those-
say that shit.
it has to be proper Spanish.
Mhm.
If you were to actually watch it, like every now and then you see them slip up and they'll use like the wrong words for it.
Yeah. My sister's my cousin's actually going through something similar with her kid because like he's speaking very broken Serbian right now because I mean obviously like it's I can't remember the exact example. I just remember it was really fucking funny. So I can't is ne mogu, I cannot, or no can technically translated, whatever, but yeah, ne mogu. So and there's like Spanish, there's a lot of like different editions. Like it can't is like ne može, right? Ne mogu is I can't, it can't, ne može. And he was like ne možem, like I can't, but he's saying it like in really fucking weird way. And she's trying to teach him, but he's always like doing the wrong shit. So it's super funny.
Yeah.
So it's kind of relatable because like she's literally trying to teach her kid to speak our language, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard because I mean, for you guys, it's a little bit easier just because there's so many people here speaking Spanish. Granted, half of them are fucking broken, like you said, but still, like it's super hard to raise your kids here speaking your language.
Yeah,
And then
for
it- then
sure.
eventually-
and that's what a lot of people don't understand. That
Mhm.
if you know Spanish and if you are in the culture, it's good to translate that to your kids, to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like a lot of parents have lacked that
Yeah.
in our culture here in the United States because of the stereotype in Hollywood. You know, they all think that having an accent is being illegal. That cutting a yard, like all Mexicans cut
not,
a yard.
not just through media, but sometimes it's just like your neighbors or like the people around you. They'll judge you just based on an accent.
Yeah, like I have a huge accent, you know, but I wasn't born in Mexico. I was born in the United States, and a lot of people have stereotyped me because of my accent. But what they don't know is that my vocabulary expand is way bigger than theirs.
No shit.
I probably write better English than them, you know, and being an accent is part of being American. I like my accent. Sorry.
Yeah. What I've seen is I have a friend who doesn't speak Spanish, only English, and her parents speak English and Spanish, but both languages they have them with an accent, like whether they're speaking English or they're speaking Spanish. Like they didn't even get like formalized Spanish or anything.
Yeah,
bro, your accent, like I've listened to a lot of people speak Spanish. You actually have a pretty heavy English accent onto your Spanish. Like I hear it all the fucking time from you specifically.
Well,
George?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I hear it from like.
It says I have an accent in Spanish.
When I heard him speak to his mom and shit, I'm like, there's a lot of like the way he curves his letters and shit like that. The pronunciation that's very English like, as opposed to like I can't really give like specific examples.
Well, it's just because one of the things that you have to learn, because whenever you speak Spanish, you literally have to open your whole mouth.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
English, we speak with our mouth closed.
Yeah.
You know, and in Spanish, whenever you're going back and forth, that's what you gotta tell yourself.
Yeah.
Like, open your mouth, bro.
Trust me, I'm the same way, bro. Because like Serbian, in the structure of it is similar. To, like the words are completely fucking different from Spanish, but it's in the way that you pronounce stuff and the way stuff is said is a lot more similar to Spanish than it would be English. Well, so I struggle with the same
Latin,
shit.
Right?
It's Slavic, but yeah.
But is it Latin? Comes from Latin, I think.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, is Arabic?
No, it's a Slavic language. I don't know where the fuck it actually comes from.
I think it's Russian. Russian and Greek are more similar.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So but it's like somewhere in there.
How's the broadcast over there in Serbia?
Fuck, man. I haven't been back in forever, so I don't know. I know they have like their shit is state owned, government owned, like it is in
so like
Britain.
Venezuela.
Yeah, so it's like it's all. I mean, like England too, like BBC and shit like that. That's all government owned, right? So it's like their main
control the news.
Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate, but you know, like whatever. At least that way you kind of know who's screwing you. Here, you can be screwed. You don't know who the fuck is screwing you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that I've seen in a long time. You've probably seen it too. Where like all the local channels were said the exact same fucking thing word for word. What was that? What was it about?
It was like Clear Channel or something.
Yeah.
But they were. It's like the company that owned all of them sent out a memo or a script for them to read, and you could put all the channels together, and like everybody's saying the same thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it was like ABC or whatever. It's like these dudes who own a shit ton of local stations. So you had your Foxes, your NBCs, your ABCs, your fucking everything, all the new channels, exactly the same story, exactly the same word for word. Wow. And you're like, oh yeah, media is not controlled. Nah, fuck that shit. All that is read by people.
No, and like some of the Spanish shows and Spanish television, they're owned by Jewish people. Like Lieberman used to the owner.
Well, with a name, obviously, it's a Jewish name.
Yeah, oh yeah, Lieberman.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't know that is the owner is Jewish.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fine, but yeah, you're right. Like you know, it's with everything being private, you kind of don't know exactly where their actual leanings are. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you'll get most of the story correct. It's just little details here and there. So that's why, you know, if you're doing news sources, always look at a couple different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, fuck, we went off topic like a motherfucker. Sorry. We do that often. It's fine.
Yeah, no.
That's been the thing with Mexican television. That's basically what killed Mexican cinema. They had like a golden age where a lot of like the Mexican films, they were at the same quality, if not sometimes higher quality than most Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And over time, it just started going down and down in quality. And then different production companies started taking over. And you started seeing like the cheesiest movies being made. Now like those same companies just keep making like telenovelas.
Nah.
And like the same company that owns all of the broadcasting in Mexico. Like Televisa owns most of it. Yeah. And they work here with Univision, so it's the same company.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about money, man. Unfortunately. Shit. They need to get some stuff from they need to like hit up the Indian homies because fucking Bollywood's been blowing up. Like their movies are good, but they're getting so much better.
No, it's not even Bollywood. It's the northern.
The Turkey. People from
bro.
Yeah, from
Okay,
India?
Turkey is the king of what you would call telenovelas.
Telenovela,
Holy
yeah.
fucking shit!
Yeah, bro. My mom is in love with las novelas that
Like
Turkey, bro.
on Netflix.
I don't know where she watches them, but they translate them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on
You
on
know?
those, there's some in Netflix my mom would be watching. They're like all foreign. Like you'll see the
And
speller for
Korean too.
police station
Koreans
or
too. Them
something,
and
yeah.
Koreans are killing it with that. I remember back home, that's were all the rage. Like some people would watch some Spanish ones and then like all the fucking Turkish ones. And
Yeah.
then now here they're becoming more popular. Everybody's like, oh my god, I forgot what it's called. There, it was some. Everybody was watching. It was someone that I was watching here from Turkey. But yeah, they're fucking slaying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their stories are really good. That's what. Well, I cannot really talk about them because I really don't know.
Yeah.
But my mom was telling me that some of the stories are so intense and so good.
Mm-hmm.
And they translate them into Spanish.
Yeah.
And they're really good.
Yeah, I've seen my mom starting to watch like more Korean dramas.
My dad was watching it, which is
Really?
fucking weird. My dad doesn't watch TV shit at all.
That's funny. Hey, but whenever you were studying broadcasting, what was your goal when you started?
So when I started, I kind of wanted to see like where it could lead, where I would be able to go. But the further I went, the more I found out like you that this shit doesn't pay. My goal at the end of the day, even before that, was kind of sort of to do the finance thing eventually, because I knew that I can get hired there without a degree, but getting hired with a degree to get me a much higher chance to get in, as well as a much higher chance to actually move up and do other shit.
Well, actually, what was your goal like to get into media at all? Like before you learned about the money.
So, honestly, and this is going to sound stupid, and I've said this before. I've said this in podcasts so many different times. Originally, so one of my friends started a YouTube channel way back in the day, and I was like, let me just try doing some shit. You know, I was just doing like dumb YouTube videos here and there every once in a while. And then I was watching Angry Video Game Nerd. He had a collaboration with this one filmmaker guy, and I was like, who is this dude? I look up, he has a web series called Spade, which was super fucking entertaining. And I was like, okay, who the fuck is this dude? Turns out dude actually makes movies. And like, he's made like these horror comedy films, which are, they're okay, but they're hilarious. I enjoy them. Looks like they're made just for me because I love that kind of slapstick bullshit comedy horror mixture. And then literally, this dude is a fucking filmmaker. He makes movies. He lives off of them. And I was like, bro, I want to do that. Like, I want to be able to, you know, I don't care about being rich, but I want to work in the media space somewhere and be able to live off of it. That was my end goal. I didn't care how the fuck I got there. Whether it was mostly movies. I really wanted to do movies, but like whether it's podcasts, whether it's actually working in a TV studio, my end goal was I want to do, you know, something in media and be able to live off of it. That was my end goal.
That's when you started.
Yeah.
What about you, George?
I got into it. Originally, I was really into art. Like my whole background was more art, like traditional art, like drawing and painting and stuff. And I started getting like really into comic books, and then like started getting even more into movies. Like the more I got into movies, like I felt like it combined everything that interested me. So my goal has always been to like just get into filmmaking. But the more I do is like, it is like a really expensive thing to get into. So it requires a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. So I'm always like just trying to figure out the best way to go about it, because every now and then you get these stories that people would like sink maybe like their whole savings into something. But
And I think like what a lot of people don't know, you know, is that if you have a good idea and if you have a good project, the money is the less of your worries, because you can always raise money to get a project going.
yeah,
And that's in anything, not just television or radio. Like you have a great idea, you have a great business plan, you have a great proposal. There's people that have money, they just want to invest it in something like that.
yeah,
So for example, me, if I can find a chef right now, I would open a restaurant. You know, if somebody comes with this great idea, hey, I have this great concept, this is the project, and they're structured, how much do you need? Boom. Why? Because the money is just sitting there. So like if you have a great project and you have this great idea and this great film, put it together. The money is the less is the less of your worries, because if you have a great plan, raising money
Yeah, exactly.
It's always an option, you know.
Exactly. So if you just have to make sure you can execute.
Yeah.
The budget usually isn't really the problem. You have to find good people to work with, stuff like that. The one of the movies that I keep talking about, I'm just waiting for the fucking actual DVD release so I can have the director and a couple other people on about it. Game Chasers. They're local people who do a retro gaming convention. They also run a YouTube channel, whatever. They made a movie recently, which is. Because if you've seen YouTube movies, usually they're hot ass. They're all like fucking garbage. These guys actually made a really decent movie for a really decent fucking budget. $150K for a movie that good, like, yeah, it's fucking fire. Because they had the right people. They had they had a guy who used to work Game of Thrones come and do a couple of pyro things. Really, like, he really only did one thing where he sets the dude's ass on fire. But so like literally because he was such a fan of theirs and all that, like he just came by to work on it. They had a bunch of other people. You know, it's just like basically if you can get the right people together, you can get shit done. Budget really. For us, $150K sounds like a lot, but when you see what they did with that, it's fucking cool.
Yeah,
because it's at least like 3-4 times more that you think you might spend for something like that.
Yeah, like you said, execution, because that's in anything, that's in everything. You know, that's in real estate, that's in car business, that's in filmmaking. It's just that the filmmaking, you have to really trust the person that's gonna execute the game plan, because you know, like when I started, like for example, when I started buying houses, I thought everything looked good, you know, but the more I knew about it and the more I got involved, I knew that, hey, like the walls are falling, the ceiling is falling, this is incorrect. You know, I have people working on that supposedly knew what they were doing, and they weren't doing their job correctly. You know, so
all
like,
these people just cutting corners.
Exactly. And I've always told people, like, you cut corners, even if you think that the other person's not gonna find out, fuck no. People are always gonna find out. So any business transaction that you do, anything you're doing, like, there's no cutting corners, because you will always find out. Like, if you don't if I take my truck to the mechanic, and if he said he did this and that, he thinks that I'm not gonna find out. Trust me, man, I am gonna find out. Because the moment the truck messes up, it goes back to the shop. And I'm not going to take it to the same shop. I'm taking it to another shop. And I'm going to ask for a full diagnose. And that's what I'm going to find out. That's in everything, you know?
And that's why, like, you have to find the people who actually have the passion to do, like, what you're trying to get them to do, right? So if you can find people like that, like, who are passionate about your project, whatever that may be, whether that be, like, mechanics, whatever this or that, like, I always go, like, granted, this is just an inspection, because my car never really gets fucked up. There's these guys who are right by my house, have a I wish I could remember their names so I can plug them. Maybe I shouldn't, because they're fucking slammed all the time. But it's literally by my house, a little like auto shop. I always take my cars there for inspection. Within the last year, their lot is always fucking full, because they're so good. Like, they're trusted. And that's why their lot's always full of cars being worked on, because like they're always fucking on top of it. They're passionate about what they do, car repair, and like word gets out, and they're fucking good. So anytime, if anything actually comes up with my fucking car, they're gonna be the first people I fucking call. Be like, hey, you know, if you got time, I know you guys are busy. I trusted you, you know, just regular inspection shit. I see you guys are fucking killing it in repairs. I'm calling them first.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're absolutely right. It's like, it's the people who are passionate. Those are the people you need to go to. Sometimes you may have to pay just a little bit more, but fuck, man, it's worth it.
Your time is money.
Yeah.
And that's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, whenever you cut corners, people are always going to find out. Or whenever you hide stuff from other people, they're always going to find out. So, and I think that's in every project, you know, that whenever you have investors involved, or you're raising money, like, you need to make sure you deliver.
Yes.
Into what you're saying, because you're the expert.
Yeah.
You're the person that knows, and I just want to support your project. You know, and I think that a lot of people don't know out there, you know, that the money should be the less of your worry.
Yeah.
You know, because if you have the right project, and if you have the right idea, and then you know that it's gonna work and you're gonna execute, the money is the less of your worry. The money will always be there.
Manuel, get writing. You need a good script. Let's do it.
All right, guys,
can
we're
always
getting
sell
close to
Emmanuel's
the
house.
end.
But one thing I kind of wanted to mention
Yeah,
here.
we'll mortgage,
We'll
we'll
sell-
leverage his house.
We'll refinance Emmanuel's house so we can.
But one thing I kind of wanted to mention, and this is something that's kind of cool, but also pissed me off a little bit. My degree actually might come in handy in my current job eventually. A while ago, I found out that so my company is going through a merger with a different one. I'm not going to name any names because reasons, whatever. But yeah, so this current company that it's being merged with, they actually have like podcasts, and they run 4 different finance-based podcasts that are. I think 3 of them are in the top 5 of like finance podcasts out there. They were actually hiring a producer a little while back. And I was like, oh shit. So this podcast, my degree, all this might actually come in handy. Fortunately, they didn't let me apply because I have to have like a client service facing role for like 2 years. But eventually, my management's already told me they kind of want to push me that way. So turns out, at the end of the day, doing a broadcast degree might have actually been a really good idea.
And following up on that, like the big companies like AT&T, Ford, I seen them, and I seen them, and I know the people. They have their own broadcast show for the company. Yeah. Like AT&T has their own news, and they come out live every Friday, for example, and it's people that work in the company, and they're like the anchor for the newscast for the company.
Yeah, a few of those companies have their own like. Was it
AT&T
exclusive network?
Yeah.
Or I forget what it's called, but there's a studio called CRM, and they would handle the network for all the GameStops. So they would film and produce it there, and they had control of the broadcast to all the GameStops around town, or like I think it was a nationwide. So all the GameStops were getting the same feed, and they're the ones that controlled it.
Wow.
So they would produce it and then like just send it out.
Yeah, but I think that the broadcast degree it always comes in handy.
Yes.
Whenever you have your own business or you work for a company, like you develop skills that nobody else in the room has.
Exactly.
Like nobody else has the same skills that you have, that he has, that I have. Nobody. Like we always stand out. It doesn't matter where we go. It doesn't matter if we work for whichever company. The skills that we develop in that degree puts us in a different level. Just because our communications, public relations, creative, storytelling, and
oh yeah,
and
absolutely,
just everything. Like most of the people that we went to school with, they're not afraid to talk in front of people.
Exactly.
And that used to be the number one fear for Americans: public speaking. And you can look it up. I think something else beat it right now, but it used to be public speaking. So most people are afraid of that. That just puts you in a small percentage of people that can actually deliver that.
Yeah.
And I think the broadcast degree always comes in handy. It's just that we sometimes don't think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
But it always comes in handy, Even whenever you do an interview for the job that you got for the company that you work for.
Yeah.
Trust me, man. Like your skills that you have are the ones that give you the opportunity to get that job.
Oh no, yeah, communications absolutely comes in super handy for this.
So it always and even that, like I told one of my partners in real estate, I asked him, "Hey man, like, what do you think school has helped you?" Because a lot of people think, "Oh, school ain't shit. Like, school's a waste of time." And he started thinking. He couldn't answer me, and I was like, "Bro, really?" Because we had just done a real estate transaction. Mm-hmm. He did his biggest real estate transaction 2 weeks ago with me.
Nice.
And the third partner in the deal was a frat brother.
A frat brother, yeah.
Fraternity. Brother. Which when I was at UTA, I used to hang out with, but I never joined a fraternity.
Yeah.
I just thought it was cheesy.
Again, fuck COVID and get the internet shit. Fuck COVID.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm like, bro, like, you don't, like, school gave you the opportunity to just do the biggest transaction you've done in real estate. Because the network that you're able to, and the relations that you were able to build in school. And he's like, oh shit, that's true. Yeah, a lot of people think because you're not working in that degree or because you're not working in that field, like, oh man, I just wasted my time. No, bro, like you just did the biggest transaction in real estate.
Yeah.
In 3 years, he did his biggest transaction. And it was because of somebody that he went to school with.
All right,
I would
before we get any further, we're at about the time that we need to wrap up.
I just want to say one more thing real quick about that. UTA specifically just got upgraded, I think, last year or something, to be like one of the, I don't know how the fuck it works, but like one of the higher end schools. So now your degree is actually worth a lot fucking more than it used to be like a year ago. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm excited for your podcast.
We're excited for your podcast, homie.
I know.
Like, we're fucking so happy that more people are starting podcasts in this field, and especially in Spanish. That's super cool.
You want to plug anything?
Plug the podcast.
Like your podcast, your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What do you want to plug?
Oh, okay, so my podcast name?
Yeah, like plug your podcast, anything, or let people know where to find you.
Okay, yeah, so I'm on Instagram como Cocinando con Abel, you know?
Nice.
Or you can just look me up as Abel Briceño, Briceno. And if you guys have any questions about broadcasting, you know, if I don't have the answer, I might know somebody that knows. You know?
Absolutely. So, well, your podcast, do you know what that's going to be called as well?
Cocinando con Abel.
Okay,
So even though
gotcha.
I don't cook no more,
Mhm.
I know me and George have shot a couple of cooking recipes. You know, I found out, I mean, through the years, I've started like 12 years ago before anybody. Now there's a bunch of people on social media cooking. But back in the day when I started, there was no really Spanish cooking show. You know, I only knew like 2, 3, but my passion is cooking, but I found out that now is more like my time to relax, to release my stress.
Yeah.
So now that's why I'm gonna keep my same brand. It's just Cocinando con Abel podcast.
Gotcha.
You know?
Cool. Well, yeah, since I think probably the battery is probably going to die or something on this shit, I do apologize. It's been super fucking fun talking to you, man. Like,
thank you
one of my
very
favorite
much.
podcasts I've had so far. Not only because we did the same school shit, but like all the other shit you did is super fucking interesting. You're definitely somebody that I want to have as a part 2, maybe like down 6 months or a year down the line. But yeah, anyways, George, thank you so much for co-hosting. Manuel, thank you so much. I know your mic had some issues. I do apologize for that. And Abel, again, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Check out his podcast as soon as it comes out. Once it's live, we're gonna try to have like the links to the shit below and all that good stuff. But yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Tune in next week to see who the fuck we have. Bye.
Wow.